I'm Beth Bowles with the University of Florida IFAS Extension, Escambia County, and we are looking at one of the favorite shrubs that people use in their landscape to offer evergreen color. I am standing in front of our Loropetalum, or Chinese fringe tree, that's been in the garden probably about 10 years. And one thing people don't realize about this plant is when you buy a plant in the nursery, some varieties of Loropetalum get to be very, very large. And so one of the common mistakes people make with this plant is actually putting it in an area that's not suitable for its size. So this particular one is a cultivar that gets about 10 to 15 feet tall. Its spread is going to be about 8 to 10 feet wide, so you really need to think about where to put this one carefully. What we've done with this particular plant is we've actually pruned up the base to open up the structure of it so you kind of have more of a tree type shrub, and that makes it very attractive at the entrance to our garden. Now, one thing to think about, you may not have room for this size plant, especially if you have a smaller yard or you want to do some landscaping around your home or up by the foundation. So the good thing is the nursery has developed different types of Loropetalum that are much smaller. So let's go into our Serenity Garden and we're going to take a look at one called Purple Pixie. Now, if you don't have room for the giant Loropetalum that gets 15 to 20 feet, this Purple Pixie may be a good selection for you to use in front of a home or a flower bed or even the front of a border of your garden. The nursery trade came out with this a few years ago, and this particular Loropetalum is going to get about 1 to 2 feet tall with a spread of about 4 feet. So plant spacing becomes very important to make sure you give it plenty of room to spread. But the nice characteristic about this one is that it has a weeping form, and that's very attractive as a feature in the garden. So this one's been established for about 4 years, so you really get an idea of the size of it and how that weeping form looks. Loropetalum generally likes to be in full sun, although it can tolerate some partial shade like we have here in our Serenity Garden. When you first install these, you need to be very careful about how you do it. Make sure you water that container very well, and then when you plant it, make sure that soil line is just slightly above grade and you fill in well with the soil you took out of your planting hole. Other than that, very little pruning is needed. It's a naturally mound type form, and so it's really going to be a nice feature in mass or even as an accent plant somewhere in your garden. So purple color is going to be a feature of these Loropetalum, but we're going to go take a look at a new one that is actually a variegated foliage. So let's go to the Evergreen Garden and see the new Jazz Hands. Loropetalum has attractive foliage anyway with that deep maroon and purple leaves, but the new thing in the market is this Jazz Hands Loropetalum. This particular plant is going to get a little bit of size on it, probably about 4 feet by 4 feet. So it's bigger than the Purple Pixie, but the advantage to this one, it has this really new foliage that has this speckled kind of pink and white and variegation on it. The old foliage will be the traditional type purple, but any new growth that comes out on this will have that nice bright variegation, and that's unique in the Loropetalum market. Jazz Hands may not be quite widely available yet, but keep a lookout for it and look for other Loropetalums depending on the size that you need. This is one plant that they keep developing new sizes and new cultivars, so you're sure to have a Loropetalum that will fit most any area where you need a plant in the landscape. And the good thing is it's fairly low maintenance, it's an evergreen, and will offer interest even if you don't get the variegated type. If you have questions about other trees or shrubs in your yard, be sure to contact us here at Escambia County Extension and we'll be more than happy to help.